All right, I just watched an extremely fiery debate on The Diary of a CEO, hosted by Stephen Bartlett, and the guests are Gary Stevenson, who come from nothing. He became a successful trader in HSBC, in an institution, and he is now campaigning for taxing the rich. And the other guest is Daniel Priestley, who is a very successful entrepreneur and is countering the argument with a different solution for tax, let's just say, and they are clashing heads. And in the interview, Gary Stevenson admits, he says, look, I am not an entrepreneur. I am not a business person.
I'm not a businessman. I'm not going to pretend to be a businessman. I'm an economist.
That is not me. I came from nothing. I had a very poor upbringing. All of my friends and everyone I know are very, very poor. And I made it as a trader by luck, on a lucky game of cards, essentially. And then Daniel Priestley has been an entrepreneur from a very young age, and he's a great, this video isn't about taking sides. What I want to do is do a bit of a reaction video, which is something I've never done, because the biggest problem here is synthesizing paradoxes, okay? Because not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, okay? Not everyone wants to be a trader. Now, why I feel I'm qualified to do this reaction video is because I grew up on a council estate and I had nothing. I have made millions of pounds in trading, and I've made millions of pounds in business, and I feel like I can come from both sides, but also I want to synthesize paradoxes for everyone, working class, middle class, everyone out there. And I'm going to summarize this video at the end with what I think is the ultimate solution to all of this. So let's get stuck into it.
It wasn't that long ago that we had real serious wealth inequality in this country.
We exist in an economy where wealth is being extracted out of the middle class. I'm sick of multimillionaires telling kids who can't afford to turn the heating on, you just need to be more entrepreneurial. It's sick, Dan, it's sick.
All right, so in these clips, they're really talking about wealth creation versus wealth concentration, a focus on wealth building. And whilst the digital tools and the global markets have made it easier for people to create wealth, trading, online businesses, all that kind of stuff, the wealth gap is widening, as Gary says, and I think they both agree. As traders or business owners, or both, you both capitalize on those trends, okay? There's no denying that. But that isn't just a business story. That is a societal one as well. That's a societal story. People across all professions, police, teachers, nurses, they're being squeezed out of wealth building opportunities. But everyone, regardless of your career choice, in my opinion, needs to own some part of the wealth building process, right? Whether you're building online businesses or building any businesses, or you're learning to invest, or you're learning to trade, or you're trading part-time, or you're investing as an employee, right? Own assets that appreciate. Financial freedom isn't about quitting your job. It's about making sure you choose your job, and all of your attention and focus and love can go into that job, and you're not staying in it out of fear of survival. That's the key takeaway for me. All right, let's carry on.
When people sidestep that and say, okay, I'm not going to get into university debt, I'm just going to go off and actually figure out how the world works, there's actually loads of opportunities.
I guess we've sorted it then. Just go and buy Dan's book, become an entrepreneur and become a millionaire. It's that easy. Why weren't you guys doing it to begin with? They're idiots.
All right, so in this clip, they're really talking about personal responsibility versus barriers, right? Structural barriers. And I agree there should be some personal responsibility, right? Who are we really trying to get to the bottom of pleasing here? Is it people who just don't want to do anything for society and make them happy? Or do we need some accountability, right? Because yes, it's not just about being entrepreneurial, as Dan says, it's about equipping people, right? Whether they're frontline workers or creatives. And it's about equipping those people with the tools to take control of their financial future. So you don't need to start a business to gain autonomy. You just start by mastering financial literacy. Financial literacy, understanding where your money goes, right? Learning how to grow it safely, even if you're working in a job that you love. Becoming financially literate ensures that you aren't left vulnerable when the system shifts. Ultimately, you don't want to be giving your power away to other people. Like, you need to take control of your life. But let's carry on.
Who's to blame? Government. So we want smaller government. We want a Department of Government Efficiency to come in. We want someone as a wrecking ball who will come in and smash government.
When the UK government was going to give £1 trillion out, all I wanted to know was who's going to end up with that money.
All right, government inefficiencies and government necessity, right? Let's call it that. Yes, governments can be inefficient. They definitely can be inefficient, but they also provide vital services that millions of people rely on. Healthcare, education, infrastructure. Arguably, they may not be as best that they could be. I, for one, don't agree with most of the educational system, which is a massive summary as part of this video. But it's not about scrapping systems entirely, right? It's about recognizing their limits and how they're impacting working people, right? So what do you do about that? Well, in my opinion, you have to respect what governments provide, right? But you don't rely on them. So you respect what they provide, like the NHS, the police, right? All this kind of stuff, but you don't fully depend on them, right? You don't rely on them fully. You take personal responsibility for your financial safety net. All right, let's take a look at the rest.
Okay, is there a ChatGPT in Germany?
No.
Is there a ChatGPT in France?
China and...
One sec.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
What you have here is an extremely low labour, extremely high capital model, which employs extremely few people across the entire world, that is focused in basically 2 cities.
Yes, globalization does offer the opportunity to learn or earn from anywhere, but it also hollows out local economies, right? Local businesses, local jobs in traditional sectors. So in that case, I would say, yes, use globalization to your advantage, but you don't abandon your community. Whether you work remotely or run a local business or run an online business, reinvest in your local economy when you can. You know, it's not all the government's fault. It's how we're spending the money as well. Most of the masses who do get some money, guess where they're spending it? TikTok Shop, China. They're spending it on Temu. They're giving all of the money to China. That's part of the problem. So no matter who you are or what situation you're in, you can be part of building resilience in your local area, your local network, your local community, whilst expanding your financial reach globally. That, to me, is a massive benefit.
If someone previously could have only afforded to take out a 200 grand loan with low interest rates, they can afford a 300 grand loan.
Do you think it's okay that the average British or American young person will never own any wealth?
The issue is not whether it's okay or not. The issue is, what do you do about it?
Do you own wealth?
I've got wealth, yeah.
Do you own wealth?
All right, so asset inflation, let's be real. It helps traders, it helps investors, it helps landlords, right? But working families are the ones who are struggling with declining real wages and rising costs. There's no denying that. And that affects everyone from skilled workers to civil servants. My solution would be to bridge the gap, right? Even if you're a profession outside of trading or business and you're not an entrepreneur, start stacking assets where you can. Pensions, index funds, side income streams. The goal isn't to abandon your career. It's to make sure that your lifestyle isn't eroded by forces outside of your control. The truth is, the people that they're referring to in this video is everyone from people really on the poverty line through to people who are wildly successful and not paying any tax, right? But what line do we try to draw in order of who we try to help? For me, the important civil servants and the key workers, those are where it stops, because below that, you need some accountability. Because people who aren't willing to put anything into the economy, we shouldn't be trying to develop a system to help them. And I'm not talking about people who don't work hard. I'm talking about people who just do not want to get a job and they just want to sponge off of benefits. There are people, most of the people in that category are not willing to work. That's the truth of it. And yet they've still got an iPhone. They're still vaping and drinking every weekend. Come on. There needs to be some accountability. But to summarize this, right? Now, bear in mind, I came from that. I came from both. I was surrounded by people doing that. I've seen it all. I'm not talking from some privileged position. I came from a council estate where I was surrounded by drug dealers. I was raised and looked after by one of the most renowned gangsters in London. As a 5-year-old child, they were my babysitters. I didn't have any aspirational peers to look up to or anyone giving me advice like this. I got up off my arse and I created a life that I wanted. And regardless of what any politician or anyone in power was doing, I navigated my way through to make it work for me. So it's very hard to tell someone like me that you can't do it. You can do it. So just to round this off, the truth is, not everyone needs or even wants to be an entrepreneur. I totally agree with that, and that's absolutely fine, right? But the real goal here is self-empowerment. Whether you're a trader or a business owner or a nurse or a teacher or a police officer or just a labourer, someone who's grafting, someone who's really working to try and make ends meet, the key is having freedom in your life to choose the life that you want without being handcuffed by financial stress or systemic pressures or some politician. It's about designing a life where you're not reacting to circumstance, but instead you're acting with intention each and every day. Wealth, to me, isn't just about getting rich. It's about creating freedom to say, I'm a nurse because I want to be a nurse. It's not because I'm stuck here. Imagine how much of a better nurse you would be. I'm teaching because that is my calling. It's not because I'm trading time for survival. Imagine how much of a better teacher you'd be. So the system might be flawed, yes. Inequality might be growing, sure. But the fix isn't waiting for some government to fix it or hoping for some external change. It's about taking control of what you can, learning how money works, being financially resilient, create multiple streams of income if you need to, and removing dependency on systems that don't serve you. Don't rely on systems that don't serve you. I don't believe that there isn't a single person watching this who doesn't want to do that. As Dan said, the government is rubbish at doing most of the jobs. And if you're relying on them, they will let you down. So take control, get educated, navigate life how you want to navigate life, regardless of the president or the prime minister. Look at the choices you're making. Look at the habits you've got right now. Ask yourself, is this doing your future self a favour? And if it's not, start building a life that does. And when you do that, whether you stay in your career or start a side hustle or invest or trade or build a business, you create options. And options create freedom. So I'm not an economist by any stretch of the imagination, but that's my 10 cents on that debate. Let me know in the comments how you think we should solve this tension between wealth creation and inequality. Let me know, and I look forward to seeing your comments. See you in the next one.